I'm feeling quite a bit of anxiety right now, and so I figured I would just ramble out to you guys in the hopes that this would help me feel less anxious in the moment. This might be kind of long and rambly, so stay tuned if you're interested, I guess.
Hey guys, it's Brittany. I don't even know what to say to you guys. Like right now I'm currently experiencing anxiety for no reason, and this is something that I struggle with almost every single day. I just really want to let you guys know like how it impacts me on a daily basis, and that it is, you know, it's a real thing that I struggle with every single day, even after being treated. I just really want to share it here because I feel like not that many people understand what it's like, and even when you do experience it, everyone's is different. And my anxiety is actually a huge reason that I even created this. I ended up becoming so isolated because of my anxiety, and there was nothing that I really enjoyed, and I didn't have anyone I felt like I could reach out to very often, and the people I could reach out to didn't understand, or I didn't want them to really know. You know, I don't like to really put myself out there in terms of my anxiety because I do feel like it is embarrassing to not be able to control your thoughts and feelings and things like that. So there are a lot of people that I didn't want to reach out to. So I felt like, you know, I was bored and lonely at home, and that's a big reason that I started making videos. I was like, well, if I make videos, at least it'll give me something to do and maybe some people to talk to, even if it's not, you know, my channel is weight loss related, so I just felt like maybe I could build a little community around myself in the safety of my own home, which, I don't know, isn't the ideal situation. Obviously, I would like a community outside of the house, great friends and family, which I do have, people that are supportive of me that I can reach out to, but I just needed like a community to reach out to, and the easiest way for me to do that was from the safety of my own home, in my living room, just talking about my feelings. And most of the people that watch my videos don't know me, so I don't really feel like they're going to judge me as harshly as people that I do know. So yeah, I decided to make a channel and reach out, and it really did help me feel less isolated. And even though I am just talking to myself on camera, I do feel like I'm talking to friends or a group of people that will give me feedback and support and things like that. And yeah, I am getting help, but I do struggle daily, and all of you guys that support me, it really does help me. And when someone tells me that they know how I feel, or they can relate a little bit, that really does help me. Anxiety can be extremely, extremely isolating and lonely. Okay, let's start with when I was in my worst mental state, I guess you would call it. Last summer was probably the worst summer of my life in terms of anxiety and in terms of a lot of things. Nothing like super traumatic happened last summer, but I was to the point where I literally like couldn't spend too much time outside with my daughter, and I would call my husband almost every day, like crying on the phone, begging him to come home because I felt like I was gonna pass out and something was gonna happen, and I felt really sick, and I was convinced something was really, really wrong with me. And even at my worst point, I don't think anyone really understood how bad it had gotten. And honestly, excuse me, honestly, neither did I in that time period when I was experiencing such bad anxiety every day. I didn't realize how bad it had gotten. I was experiencing panic attacks every day, pretty much like prolonged, like all day long. I was in some sort of panic state. I was always worried about me passing out or my daughter getting sick or just something where like I literally could not function. And it's still hard to like think back to that time and like think about how bad it really, really was, because in that time I got, you know, so isolated because I felt like I couldn't do anything. I felt like I couldn't go out with my friends. I didn't want to do anything, and I was just so scared of like going anywhere because not only was I worried about passing out or having a seizure or all of these crazy thoughts that would pop into my head, and I would be convinced these things would happen to me, but I would also feel like, oh my God, if that happens, that would be so embarrassing, which is ridiculous because if a medical emergency happens, it's not really embarrassing. But in my mind, like just becoming a spectacle, the thought of that maybe happening was just so debilitating to me. And that's the best way I could describe it. When anxiety was at its worst in my life, it was completely debilitating. I pretty much completely stopped driving altogether. I didn't drive for months and months, like ever, ever, ever. And I really couldn't do much. Like, I hardly ever left the house, and that would lead me to have a lot of guilt about my daughter because she was always at home with me, and I would, I try to do my best every day as a parent, but so much guilt comes along with that, and that, would fuel my anxiety because I want to be doing the best for her, and so struggling so much, it was just really, really difficult. And I would talk to my husband about it and my sister, and they didn't really understand. They would be like, okay, well, you just need to calm down, and I don't know what you're freaking out about. There's nothing to freak out about. And while I know they were trying to be supportive, they also had no idea at all what I was going through. And so I think a lot of people feel like anxiety is not a real thing, or that you kind of create anxiety yourself, which you do, but it is also like a hormonal or physical sort of imbalance in your brain, and you can't help it. So even now, I don't feel like they fully understand the extent of how bad it got. I don't think anyone does. I feel like, after a while you kind of stop talking about it because you convince yourself you're just crazy and you're fine. And I don't know, like, I don't even know where this video is going right now, but I would get anxious about having to do it before I ever did it. So it was like my anxiety came more from thinking about having to do these things and preparing to like do everyday normal things rather than actually doing them themselves, if that makes sense. I have a lot of anticipatory anxiety because I feel like situations are going to be awkward, or what if I don't feel well? What if I pass out in that situation? And so I really just stopped doing anything. And I would start to ask my husband, like, do you think that I should go get help? And I would start asking, like, a lot of people, like, do you think I should get help for this? And he didn't realize how bad it was. And so he was always like, no, like, I think you're fine. You just need to calm down. And eventually, I did get to a point where I was like, I have to do something. I can't live like this anymore. I was having panic attacks every day where I would just sit there, like, sobbing because I couldn't control these intrusive thoughts. And, like, it was just terrifying. Like, nothing was happening to me physically, but having those thoughts just creep into your head, it gets really, really scary. And so, yeah, I would have intrusive thoughts all the time. And eventually I got to a point where I was like, okay, I need to get help for this. And this was pretty recently, in the last, I don't know, 6 months maybe, probably less than that. And so I went and talked to a counselor. She wasn't really a therapist. She was just basically like a counselor to tell you what she thought you should do. And so I probably should speak to a therapist, which I haven't done, but I did end up going to my doctor and explaining the situation. And so he did medicate me, and that has helped a tremendous deal. But anxiety is still something I deal with on an every single day basis. It's always on my mind. The intrusive thoughts haven't gone away. I do experience them less, and I have gotten a lot better. I am able to drive. I am able to take my daughter out places. I can go to the grocery store. A lot of the time I do have to be on the Alprazolam Xanax to do those things, but the more I do them, the easier they become. And I know they're just normal everyday things that everyone should be able to do, but when you're struggling so much mentally, like, the simplest tasks just become so overwhelming. Like, when you have panic attacks, going back to a place that you've had a panic attack before, it can kind of trigger your anxiety. And so there are certain things that do set me off, like when lighting is super bright in a store or flickery at all. That makes me feel like, oh my god, I'm definitely gonna have a seizure. Having a seizure is one of my big ones. So weird lighting triggers it. Any sort of flashing lights trigger it. If I feel if I get really hot all of a sudden, that will trigger it. But there are things that I don't even know about where I'll just be, fine, going about my day, and all of a sudden it just like hits me like a ton of bricks. Like, my heart starts pounding and I start feeling lightheaded, and I'm like, oh my god, what is going on right now? And so it is something that I still have so much work to do, and I do struggle with daily. And although I am feeling better and I can function better, and people around me have noticed a difference that I'm doing much better, and things like that. It is something that I still struggle with every single day. I have a long way to go, but I am getting better. I am able to function. I'm much happier. I feel less lonely, even though I don't have a ton of, this is so pathetic, but I don't have a lot of very close friends in real life. So having this outlet and this community to talk to really does make me feel like I am a part of something, and makes me feel like I have a larger community of people out there that I can reach out to, even if it is not face to face, it's just on video like this. And so I know a lot of YouTubers probably started their channels for similar reasons. I've seen so many anxiety videos on YouTube, and I think an outlet like this is great for someone with anxiety because it gets you unisolated in a way that's still safe and in your comfort zone, if that makes sense. So I just wanted to share a little bit with you guys about how I've been feeling lately, about how bad my anxiety has gotten, and how I still am dealing with it on a daily basis. But if you are dealing with it, there is help out there, and even though I'm not better, I'm not, recovered from it, I'll probably never be recovered from it. My life has improved tremendously, even though it might not sound like it. In my mind, my life has improved tremendously since seeking help, since finding an outlet for myself. And so, I don't know, I just thought I would share with you guys how I'm feeling. I just wanted to get it off my chest, kind of. Sorry it's so babbly. If you have any questions or thoughts or anything like that, just leave them down below, and I would love to answer you guys, talk to you guys about it again. If you guys want to know more specific experiences that I've dealt with my anxiety, I would love to share them. Anything you guys want to know or hear, just let me know. And if you haven't already, please subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for letting me vent to you and get this all off my chest. You guys mean so much to me, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye, guys.